Ladies and gentlemen, this guy's life in hockey could eventually lead him to the Hockey Hall of Fame, just like Bob Nystrom we're hoping for. This guy was a great player no matter where he went. Tenacious, tough, every big word, overachiever, underrated, dynamite player, dynamite teammate. We have to be talking about the great New York Islanders star and Team Canada star, John Tonneli. Now, John A. Tonneli was born Hamilton, Ontario, March 23rd, 1957. Four-time Stanley Cup winner with the Islanders. Who also played with Calgary, LA, Chicago, and Quebec. Now, he was born at the St. Joseph Hospital in Hamilton to March 23rd, 57, to Alex Tonneli and Joy Slissy of Milton. He has an older brother, Raymond, a younger brother, David, and a younger sister, Sandra. Tonneli's mother, Jo Slissy, is a relative of Eno Slissy, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Slissy, who was Bill Milton's first NHLer. As a young man, Tonneli worked in the family business bronze plaque making factory, where he washed and finished plaques. Tonneli's father, who worked for 40 years in the steel business, had set an example for his son for hard work and used to dam up the water in a culvert next to their home, which would freeze and allowed Tonneli endless access to skating time near their home in Ontario Street in Milton. Now, Tonneli was a multi-sport athlete in his youth, serving as a pitcher for the Milton Red Sox in the Minor Baseball Association. In '66, where he hit a grand slam in the same game he served as a pitcher. In '68, with his father's assistant coach, Tonneli won an OBA championship for the Milton Mowbray Tykes. He had 4 one-hitters as a pitcher in the 1970 baseball season. In '71, he was his school's Holy Rosary top basketball scorer with 42 points. In '72, as a 15-year-old, he pitched a perfect game as a bantam baseball player. Now, Tonneli began his hockey career in earnest when he played 1 year with the Milton Flyers of the Central Junior B Hockey League before joining the Toronto Marlies. Now, Tonneli was the first 15-year-old player to be signed by the Marlies OHA team and the first Milton resident to play them for the Marlies since Murray Cowboy Greinke in the 49 and 50 seasons. In his first season with the Marlies, coach George Armstrong, the former Leaf, noted Tonneli was pro material. He was one of the first players to challenge the OHA's and the Marlies OHA team, which we had signed a contract at age 16. As he reached age 18, the WHA's Houston Aeros offered him a contract worth $500,000 at the time, which is $2.2 million in 2021 dollars. But his contract with the Marlies tied him to the OHA team for 3 years, plus an option. In June '75, the WHA owners voted to void Tonneli's Houston contract. Tonneli's agent threatened to sue, and the Marlies asked for $100,000 in compensation, plus 20% of Tonneli's 3-year contract. Now, Tonneli refused to play for the Marlies in the playoffs after he turned 18, so there would be not imperil his legal arguments. Tonneli's agent, Gus Medali, sued the Marlies in the OHA, and eventually the Ontario courts ruled that the contract was unenforceable because Tonneli had been under the age of 18 when he signed it, and his parents had not signed it. Tonneli's teammate, future NHLer John Anderson, followed the same lead, sitting out for a period, but eventually returned to lead Toronto in the Memorial Cup. Now, he played for the Aeros for 3 seasons. During his time in Houston, he was drafted by the New York Islanders in the second round of the '77 NHL Amateur Draft after Jim Devellano, who was the Islanders' director of scouting, came and visited Tonneli in Houston. Devellano was the only NHL scout to come and personally visit Tonneli in Houston while Tonneli was there, taking him out to dinner to talk. Now, up until '77, Tonneli suffered once or twice a year from devastating migraine headaches that started at age 10, and the doctor said were caused by his intensity and nervousness at game time. Now, because Tonneli's NHL rights were reclaimed by the Islanders after the Aeros folded in '78, he eventually signed with the Islanders. Now, he won 4 cups with the Islanders in their key areas and assisted on Bob Nystrom's Stanley Cup overtime winning goal in Game 6 against the Flyers in 1980. In '82 and '85, he was a second-team All-Star and played in consecutive Stanley Cup finals between '80 and '84. Again, He made an additional appearance as a runner-up in the Cup Finals in '86 with the Flames, who lost to Montreal. Now, the Tonneli scoring touch also applied to the regular season, as January 6, '81, he scored 5 goals in a game versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, Tonneli was a gritty forward with a never-say-die attitude for the Islanders, and again, he was known as the Greasy Jet by his teammates and would score numerous important clutch goals in those Stanley Cup finals, especially during the '82 season. Now, during the playoffs that year, the Islanders were 5 minutes away from being eliminated by a much weaker Pittsburgh Penguin team, trailing 3-1 in the deciding game, when Tonneli assisted on a Mike McEwen goal that closed the champions' win in 1 goal and tied the game itself with 2:21 to play. For an encore, it was Tonneli that scored in overtime to win the game for the Islanders, thus extending their reign as Stanley Cup champions. Now, Tonneli also scored a winning goal in the February 20th '82 game against the Rockies, beating former teammate Chico Resch with just 47 seconds left to play to allow the Islanders to set an NHL record, since broken, with their 15th straight victory. Early in his Islander days, Tonneli was also a curiosity to his teammates. He arrived early, just like Guy Lafleur, and stayed late. He made demands of himself that were so harsh that coaches felt compelled to ask Tonneli to save some of their work for the games. He was also known for being almost unbeatable in digging out the puck in the corners of the rink, thus the grinder legacy that he leaves. However, Tonneli also had an excellent shot, was a good passer, and had excellent timing, both on offense and defense. Tonneli was also very versatile. During his 8th season with the Islanders, coach Al Arbour used Tonneli on the famed banana line with Wayne Merrick and Bobby Nystrom, on the top line with Brian Trottier and Mike Bossy, and he also played on a line with Brent Sutter and Pat Flatley on their kind of youth line. In his 7th season as a pro and his 4th with the Islanders, he got 93 points, including 35 goals, breaking Clark Gillies' club record for a left wing for points with 91, set in '79. Now, although Tonneli played a key role in the 4 Cup victories, in some ways his career culminated in the fall of '84, when he played for Canada in the Canada Cup, an invitation he almost turned down. He not only made the team, he had 9 points, including a key assist on Mike Bossy's goal in overtime of the semi-final. Canada won the championship, and Tonneli was named the tournament's best player, winning the Canada Cup MVP award. When he then rejoined the Islanders that year, he had his best season ever, scoring 42 goals and 100 points in '85. Now, during the fall of '85, Tonneli was a holdout and missed 22 games of training camp and the early regular season, and a bitter standoff with the Islanders. He was the first player under contract in Islanders history to hold out. At the time, the New York Times estimated he was making $200,000 per year on a 4-year contract. After returning to the Islanders and playing out most of the season, he was traded to the Flames on March 11th, '86, for Richard Quam and Steve Conroy. The Flames, with Tonneli's experience, reached the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in '86. Now, as a free agent next year, he was offered a termination contract by the Flames after he benched them during some playoff games in '88, but he instead signed for the '89 season with the Kings, where he was put in line with Wayne Gretzky at times. Gretzky had been traded to the Kings 6 weeks after the Kings acquired Tonneli. Now, a book called Hockey Scouting Report in 1989, authored by former NHL goalie John Davidson, who had played for the Islanders' rival, the Rangers, who lost to the Islanders in 3 straight years in the playoffs, and a couple of other writers, did a report on Tonneli that made his eyes water. "I don't want to point any fingers," Tonneli said. "Let's just say that the nature of the game is that some guys out there hold grudges a long time." Now, the book stated about Tonneli, once a good skater with a lot of power, Tonneli's skills are now on the downside. He doesn't have the acceleration he once did, and for a straight-ahead player who had little agility, loss of speed and power is the worst loss that could be suffered. He retains a kind of laziness he's long had, in that he won't backtrack as well as he should, sort of coasting back to save his energy for another offensive rush, which of course is bullshit, but John Davidson doesn't have a leg to stand on, because show me your Stanley Cups, John Davidson. Looking at your fingers, there's nothing there. Well, nothing will be there. Now, however, again, Tonneli rewarded the Kings' faith in him by scoring back-to-back 31-goal seasons in 89 and 1990. Now, during the summer of 89, he entered a contract standoff with Kings GM WHA before a deal was reached during the preseason. I went through a holdout with the Islanders in 86, and that was terrible. I was out for 23 days, but it became a bitter thing. That's something I don't want to have happen here. I told you that I was looking at other teams this summer. My agent was really, my heart was right here, said Tonneli. Now, in May 91, the Kings left Tonneli unprotected in the NHL expansion draft. Then a free agent, he said he sensed the Kings were not interested in his returning next season and instead signed with the Chicago Blackhawks. On February 18, 92, he was traded to Quebec Nordiques for future considerations, where he finished the season there before retiring. Now, Tonneli, who played 1,028 games in NHL, ended up with 836 points, including 325 goals. Now, the John Tonneli Arena in Milton is named in his honor, and he currently resides in Armonk, New York, working for the Fidelity National Financial. Now, his family's quite talented, as we all know. His older brother Ray was also a hockey and baseball player, and Tonneli's cousin is former NHLer Ryan Jones. Now, Tonneli's second cousin, Kyle Henneberry, currently plays midget AAA hockey for Halton, which represents Milton's top minor hockey team, as well as Tyler Harrison, who plays for the Milton Winterhawks, and Trevor Harrison for the Guelph Griffins Pee Wee AAA team. Now, during the off-season while playing for the Islanders, Tonneli also worked part-time for a subsidiary of Canon USA and his boss, Fujio Matari. As part of his day with the Cup in 81, Tonneli brought the Cup to Matari's office. Now, Tonneli is the only player in history to score a regular season goal on the assists by Gordie Howe and another regular season goal on assists by Wayne Gretzky, which means his contact with history goes back for the 1940s. Now, again, his Uncle Eno played in the NHL between 46 and 53. Now, he was an OMJHL first All-Star team in 75, MVP to Canada Cup in 84, second All-Star team in NHL 82 and 85, NHL All-Star team 82 and 85, inducted into the inaugural class of the Milton Sports Hall of Fame in 2016, and his jersey number 27 was retired by the Islanders in 2020. Now, WHA totals, ladies and gentlemen, 61 goals, 150 points in 224 games, 25 points in 25 games, 5 points, 34 games in the playoffs. NHL totals, again, literally 1,200 games, NHL regular season and playoffs, 365 goals and 951 points. Team Canada, Canada Cup, 9 points in 8 games, 2 penalty minutes. So, just like Bobby Nystrom, just like Tonneli, just like Nystrom, they couldn't have won the Cups without Tonneli. And he came to the Islanders well prepared after some of the better years of the Houston Aeros. Now, my only consideration why Tonneli is not in the Hall of Fame, maybe to certain people because he rubbed people the wrong way. We talked about John Davidson and said about him. But anybody plays with Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky, Mike Bossy, Clark Gillies, Dennis Potvin, Lanny McDonald, Yuri Coury, Paul Coffey, all these players played with the rebuilding Quebec Nordique team for a while. But these playoff numbers really stand out for me, ladies and gentlemen. And that started with the Aeros in 1976, where we had 14 points in their playoff run. And, 1980, when he scored 14 goals in a regular season, he had 7 goals in the playoffs. So he would leave the best for the playoffs. Get his 20 or 25 goals, and as he got better, he became a better playmaker. By looking at the 85 season, the last person that we thought in the early 1970s, when he broke in, was going to score 100 points in AHL was Tonneli, because he was your typical, 20, 30, 50 total guy. But I think he deserves to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Let me know what you think. Because if you put all these Montreal Canadiens in, why not Nystrom and Tonneli? That's what I think anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a great day. Give us a like, comment, or subscribe. And if you like what you're doing, tell your friends. We'd like to hear from more and more fans. We're pushing for 200,000 page views by Valentine's Day. Can you make that happen? Check our archives here. If you want to see us get 200,000 hits, no monetization here, no promotion, all word of mouth. Please do so. Have a good day.